You've probably been there. You scroll through a dozen listings, each promising crystal-clear scrolling text, a sleek case, and a plug-and-play setup, only to end up with a bulky box that takes forever to assemble and a screen that's either too dim or too small for a real shoot. That frustration is why I'm breaking down the Ikan 12-inch portable teleprompter kit, so you can avoid the typical looks good online, fails on set disappointment. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the thing that sets this kit apart is the inclusion of an SKB rolling hard case. In my experience, the biggest headache with teleprompters is transporting them without a dent or a cracked glass panel. The case feels like it could survive a drop from a moving van, and the wheels roll smoothly over airport carpet, which is a real time saver when you're hopping between locations. That said, the case adds a few pounds to the overall package, so if you're planning to hand carry it on a hike or a cramped coffee shop table, you'll notice the extra heft. The monitor itself is a 12-inch custom screen that sits right behind the glass. For solo creators who film in a tight space, think a home office or a small studio, that size strikes a decent balance between readability and portability. I tested it with a 30-minute script, and the text stayed crisp even when I tilted the camera at a shallow 15-degree angle. However, the screen's brightness caps at about 250 nits, which means you'll need to dim any strong ambient light or risk glare washing out the characters. In bright daylight or under a high-key lighting rig, you may have to pull down a diffusion filter or rely on a darker background to keep the text legible. One of the practical strengths is the new adjustable glass frame. It slides along the 15mm rod system, letting you fine-tune the distance between the glass and the monitor. That adjustment matters when you're using different camera lenses. A wider lens needs the glass a bit further away to avoid a visible reflection. I swapped from a 24mm to a 50mm lens, and the frame's quick-slide mechanism let me line up the prompt in under 10 seconds, a real boost for multi-camera setups. The trade-off is that the 15mm rods, while versatile, don't lock as rigidly as a heavier steel arm. When I gave the rig a quick nudge, the glass shifted a fraction, which forced a small readjustment before the next take. For most vloggers that's a minor annoyance, but for broadcast-level work you might find it a bit too loose. Portability also translates into setup speed. The kit advertises easy to assemble, and that's largely true. The monitor snaps into the base, the glass frame clicks onto the rods, and the whole thing folds into the case in under a minute. I was able to get it on a tripod, calibrate the focus, and start rolling within 3 minutes of arriving on location. The only hiccup came when the case's latch caught on a strap, which took a second to free. Not a deal breaker, but something to be aware of if you're constantly in a rush. Now, who should actually consider buying this? If you're a solo content creator, a freelance journalist, or a small team YouTuber who frequently shoots on the road, the Ikan PT1200TK offers a compact, all-in-one solution. The rolling case protects the glass during travel, the monitor is large enough to read comfortably at arm's length, and the adjustable frame means you can adapt to different lenses without buying extra accessories. It also fits nicely in a car trunk or a small studio shelf, so you won't be sacrificing floor space. On the flip side, if you're running a full-scale studio, need a 17-inch or larger screen for long scripts, or require rock-solid rigidity for high-speed camera moves, this kit starts to feel a bit limited. The 12-inch display may force you to squint or increase your font size, which can eat up screen real estate for graphics or cue cards. And the 15mm rod system, while flexible, doesn't provide the same level of lock-in stability that a professional-grade aluminum or carbon fiber arm does. In those scenarios, you might be better off investing in a larger, dedicated teleprompter system that's built for studio durability. Another point to weigh is the price versus the rating. With a 3.3-star average from over 300 reviewers, the market sentiment is mixed. Some users praise the portability and case, while others mention the brightness limitation and the slight wobble of the rod system. If you're comfortable testing a few adjustments before you shoot and you value the convenience of a travel-ready kit, the rating may feel acceptable. If you need a plug-and-play solution that works perfectly right out of the box, you may encounter the same frustrations that contributed to that middling score. In terms of value, the kit bundles the case, monitor, and glass frame together for a price that's lower than buying each component separately. For a creator who already owns a camera and tripod, The main expense is the monitor and the protective case.